day now.
There we go.
Yo, what the fresh? Yo, what's going on in the blurred world? It's your boy and it is your homegirls. We just want to say something, so go ahead, call your friends and them. Cause all right, I know that last part ain't really rhyme. I ran out of words at the when I was as I was getting close. I was like, what am I say? But it is what it is. We heard y'all what's going on. It's your boy, the real Miss Taylor. We outside, and we want to go ahead and am I the only one hearing that?
Hearing what exactly? What are we supposed to be hearing? Oh yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You are?
Yes. That is,
okay.
Yes.
All right. Well,
no. I mean, yes, you're the only one hearing that.
Okay. Well, I am doing just fine. Hello, everybody. My name is Miss Taylor. This is a beautiful morning, and there is news afoot. My apologies for the technical difficulties, but if you did not know, if you're living under a rock, oh my goodness, there is a new member of the DC family. His name is Pierre, and he has been selected, from what I understand, as the next Green Lantern. This means John Stewart finally has somebody to call a home. But is this the right choice? Because there are some people saying that maybe a little too light, because some people think that the comic should be exactly how it is in the movie. We will discuss other things going on. As you all know, Joker 2 is still out in movie theaters, but for some reason, the movie called Terrifier 3 is doing better than that. Is that right? I don't even know what Terrifier 3 is, but we're going to get some more opinions on Joker 2. Don't go nowhere. Also, in Star Wars and Marvel news, looks like John Boyega and Simu Liu is talking about doing more Star Wars and some Marvel's roles. Well, Simu already did the Marvel, but it would be nice to see John in Marvel and to see Simu in Star Wars. Let's talk about it. Is anything going to happen out of that? Also, The Rock wants to play in the MCU. Marvel wants The Rock to play in the MCU. I don't know how I feel about this. Let's ask the panel. How y'all feel about this? Is The Rock going to mess up the Marvel Studios the same way he kind of did with that movie that he was in, Black Adam? I don't know. Let's discuss. Another thing popping is Tomb Raider is out. If you like it, check it out. Let us know how you feel about it. It is an anime type series. It's animated, so we want to hear what you think about it. And, this one's a big one. Henry Cavill has been cast in a live action Voltron. What you know about that, boy? That's crazy. In addition to this, we'll be talking about the shows that we're following up on. Penguin had a fire episode this Sunday. Agatha had another episode. It wasn't as bad as I expected. And hey, we're going to talk about a show called Front. If you have not been put up on the show, stay tuned, because this shit crazy right here. I ain't even going to lie to you. And it is your boy, as I said before, the real Miss Taylor, reporting live from ATL. What's happening? And I am joined by none other than the one and only Bad Ty Bricks in the house. We got Nolly in the house. We got Anthony in the house. Newcomer to the crib, we got Megan's World in the house, and we're going to introduce y'all in just a second. This is the new Blurred Order. Let's go ahead, get it in, tell a friend we outside. Let's talk, baby.
I love the new Blurred Order. You should too.
Let me get all this 10p Wayne. All the niggas rapping about the same old thing. I've been coming through with the same old gang. Ain't shit changed except nine got a name. Got it out the mud, but we got no stains. Cold ass ninja with a gold ass chain. The girl call me daddy, not my government name. Money on my mind, got them bands on my brain. Let me tell y'all about a nigga I know. The nigga stay clean, so he always got hoes. Like skinny bitches like.
Alrighty, y'all. So let's go ahead and crank this off with the major news for this week. As we all have been made aware, there is a new member of the DC casting, and that is none other than Pierre. Pierre, who just recently received major marks on his movie Rebel Ridge, is now going to be claiming the role of John Stewart in the Lantern Corps developed series by, I think, James Gunn, right, Ty? I think it's James Gunn. James Gunn is, I think he did the series.
Yes.
This is a big deal. This is a big deal, guys, because this gives DC a and forgive the term, black face to rest itself on. As of this point, for the most part, it's been Henry Cavill, it's been The Flash, it's been all these others. And now, for the time being, what this announcement has done is it's brought non-comic book fans into the fold. And I just want to get everybody's opinion about it. But before we go there, I just want to introduce to y'all one of our first times having this young lady all the way from the West Coast. I want y'all to help us welcome none other than Miss Megan's World. What's going on, Megan? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good this morning. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited. I love New Blurred Order, so I'm really excited to get into it.
Oh, you don't just say that. You already here. You made it. You're here. You know what I'm saying? No, we appreciate you being here. So Megan, for those who are unfamiliar, is on Instagram at Megan, MEA, as you see it right there, GANZ's World. And she does a lot of movie reviews, and she definitely lets it all hang out. What got you into movie reviews real quick, Megan?
Oh yeah, I started doing movie reviews and movie commentary since 2017. So yeah, it's been nearly a decade doing movie reviews. Started out on this app called Stardust. Yeah, defunct now, but yeah, then I transferred over to Instagram, and now I'm also on TikTok, and yeah, and I have some other projects in the works too. So I'm planning on expanding my platform. So yeah, look out for that too. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will definitely be looking out, and we certainly appreciate you joining us for the morning. I know, you're definitely a big movie buff, so I hope you don't mind if we talk about a couple of TV shows as well.
Yeah.
One of the awesome. So sit tight and definitely join into the conversation. We got to talk, guys, about what this means and what some people are saying also when it comes to the Aaron Pierre casting. First and foremost, I'm going to put this up and I'm going to take it down. When I take it down, I want y'all to give me thumbs up if you love it, thumbs down if you hate it, meh in the middle if you, I'm no either way. Really want to know your real feelings on this, so I'm going to take this down in 3, 2, 1. Oh, okay. We got mixed feelings amongst the group. We got mixed feelings. All right. Let's start with the positive. Let's go with Bad Ty Bricks. Bad Ty, why do you think this is a good casting, homeboy?
After watching Rebel Ridge, and I don't want to discredit Aaron Pierre because he also has other projects that maybe a lot of people don't know. I mean, Kim brought it to our attention, and I had totally forgot. But I think
way too
one of his, well, my wife is too. This is something we're just gonna have to get used to. So it's nothing we can do about it. But Aaron Pierre, I believe got his start on the series Underground.
Yes, and it was a good series.
It was a good series. But Rebel Ridge, I think, propelled him into that role of stardom. As soon as I saw it, as soon as I saw him in the role and watched it, I immediately came to the platform and said, he's the next one up. And then we hear the news about him becoming Jon Stewart and basically the new face of DC, because DC doesn't right at this point he doesn't have any competitors, so he could fill the role that Henry Cavill left or Cavill, depending on your pronunciation. But I personally think he's a great actor based on the things that I've seen him in, and for that reason, anytime there's a new role, especially when you're starting a new property like they are with the Lanterns, you want someone who's going to be able to come in and give the role and the character that added flavor that you need to kind of bring in new viewership. And I think James Gunn saw an opportunity to capitalize off of Aaron's newly found success with what he did with Rebel Ridge. So to me, it's not surprising. I know people have their issues with his skin tone, and I have my things. We'll get into that, but yeah, I think personally, as far as acting wise and acting chops, I think he's gonna bring the necessary spunk, if you want to say, to the role.
Spunk. Okay. Anthony, you seem to not be as impressed. Your feelings, homeboy?
Oh man. My feelings are a little bit. So here's my thing. I wasn't very familiar with the actor until I saw Rebel Ridge. And when I saw Rebel Ridge, I was like, yo, this dude is acting like Jon Stewart. Like when I saw him in that movie, I immediately thought of Jon Stewart. So I was like really impressed. He's militant, he's disciplined, he's got great acting, his brother looks good. He felt like the right person to portray the character. I'm so about it because when you look back at the history of the character, when you look back at the history of the character, he was created by this guy named Neil Adams, right? Like I'm like heavy in the comics. Like you guys see it. Like I'm heavy in the comics.
Yeah.
So this dude Neil Adams was a he's a Caucasian man. He was but he had a lot of black friends. So he was talking about how in comics at the time, he wanted to create this Green Lantern that was a little bit different. He was looking over at what Marvel was doing with how they was portraying black characters. They had a black character in a Nick Fury comic, but the black characters wouldn't be colored black, they would be colored gray. So if you look back at the comics back at the 70s and time, they would color black people gray or light brown. He had to almost Trojan horse what color he wanted to pick for Jon Stewart. And when his editor saw the color he picked, she started to question him. She's like, yo, what are you doing? He's like, look, I don't want the typical type of black person. I don't want a gangbanger. I don't want to know high chief. I want a college graduate, but I also want one that represents the people that I know, and they happen to be of darker skin. So he picked this color that was like Y2R2 or something like that, and it's just a really dark skin. And his purpose for that, again, was just to portray a college-educated, non-stereotypical, elevated dark-skinned black man, and to give that type of character a platform, because they just always portrayed either light-skinned black people, or they always portrayed, beige or tan black people, or just straight up gray. So he intentionally created this character to create somebody that was of darker skin. So just because I'm like, yo, this Caucasian person thought it was so important in the 70s to have a dark-skinned superhero. This is the only one that I know that was intentionally made with dark skin besides T'Challa. It kind of was like, when I saw the casting, I'm like, dang, this dude is really, really, really good. But what happened to the intent of portraying a dark-skinned superhero, just so dark-skinned people can have a platform so that they can see themselves in superheroes too? So I love Aaron Pierre. I think he's going to do a fantastic job. Like, he is Jon Stewart as far as I'm concerned. But I'm just a little bit disappointed that, for my dark-skinned brothers and sisters out there, this hero who was intentionally made for them might not be accurately reflected in the TV show.
Ooh, man, that is a monologue that we have to chop up. Megan, I think you had your hand up. Or
I was iffy, and I'm gonna piggyback off of Anthony. That's why I'm iffy on that too, because the character was intentional for him to be dark skinned, and you get again, Aaron Pierre, really talented actor. The only work I've honestly seen him in is in the movie Old, which was a horror film by M. Night Shyamalan and stuff. But I mean, didn't give him too much to work with. But he was one of my favorite characters in the film, so I'll give him that. But aside
can I
from
ask a question about that real quick?
Yeah, no problem.
What was his role in that flick?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Everyone's seated, but yeah, he plays a rapper named Midside Sedan. Yes, that's actually his name. And his most common line is damn, like damn. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So yeah, anyway, we'll put a pin on that. Besides that, but I'm like, hey, he did the best with the material he was given in that film. With all that being said. However, but I think I don't know. I don't mean to sound cynical, but it just really feels like the casting for having a black man that is very light skinned, has like green eyes, all that stuff. It seems like the palatable choice to a wider audience, a whiter audience, instead of instead of a dark skinned black man. And that was the intention. So like, yeah, it just makes me feel really iffy about that. And no hate to Aaron Pierre whatsoever, but I'm like, ugh, that casting just kind of makes me feel a bit uncomfortable.
Get it. I get that for sure. Nolly, what are your thoughts?
I don't know if I can eloquently add on to what Anthony and Megan said, because literally I have the same thoughts. Jon Stewart was purposely created the way he was created, and I like Aaron Pierre, love him, and I'm happy for him in this opportunity. But I also feel like it's the easy way out on things. Like it's like a safe choice. It doesn't need to be a safe choice, you know, especially since they're revamping, you know, DC as it is. Like this is the chance to take chances, you know, and do things the right way. And I feel like he had an opportunity and Gunn didn't pull the trigger.
I'm sorry, did I interrupt? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
Okay. Ty, you feel the same way? You like the selection. I think me and you may have similar thoughts. What are your thoughts finally?
I mean, first of all, before I go into this rant, I want to make sure that everyone understands that I understand exactly why the sentiments are what they are. However, I think that the perpetuation of this sentiment is it's getting old. And I think that we have to go back to the core root of why we have these sentiments. We know historically that light skin and just not even we won't even go light skin. We'll say that the color scale when it comes to Black people has been distorted because we were meant to be divisive. It was meant to be divisive in the first place. When the slave master decided to take light-skinned people into the house and make them so-called house Negroes, and the dark-skinned workers becoming field Negroes, that was the onset of this divisiveness. It started way back. It was not intentional on our parts. It was not something that we even probably focused on as a people. If anything, the divisiveness between Black people came from different tribes. So if you were from this tribe or that tribe and we were warring with you, then we didn't like you, or what the case may be. It wasn't necessarily because of your complexion or your color. And I think that at this point, we understand that there is a underlying goal. And I think when you understand that there is an underlying goal for the things that are happening in Hollywood, in America, in the world, you have to go outside, seek outside yourself, and then be diligent in your thought processes, because you have to understand that someone is trying to make you feel and think a certain way. I think once you get to that point, you realize that, hey, nobody else is really arguing this point. We don't have white people saying, oh, she was too pale of a character. She was. We don't do that. They don't do that. Because, and again, this is something that has been perpetuated within the Black community, within the Spanish community, within every other community outside of said majority. So when you start to think about these things, I start looking at it from a different perspective. I'm looking at, why did James Gunn make this decision? Did he make the decision because Aaron Pierre was light-skinned? Or did he make the decision because Aaron Pierre is the hot thing right now and DC needs a fucking boot? They need a boot up. They have no one who is the face of DC Comics right now, or DC movies.
Literally.
Everybody has gone. The Penguin is through Matt Reeves' universe. It is a great show. We love it. Boom, boom, boom. But that is, he may or may not be the face of DC. This individual played in Rebel Ridge. And Megan, I would definitely suggest that movie as you check it out, because it was really good. And he was really good in it. Yeah, he was really good in it. So I think when you see Rebel Ridge and you see how everybody responded to it, and it was like people who, like my wife and your wife, who may not even enjoy those type of movies, but for him, Like literally, he was the reason. And so when you start seeing that, from a business standpoint, if I'm trying to jumpstart something that was dead, and I need a huge lift, then I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna search for that thing or that person that I feel like can kind of propel what I'm trying to do. And I think this was a brilliant choice in regards to the character, because as Anthony said, when he saw Aaron Pierre on camera playing the part of the individual that he played in Rebel Ridge, he immediately said, this guy is Jon Stewart. And that is what I think a director who is trying to direct a Lanterns movie is looking for. I need someone who is going to promote and show off this character that I'm thoroughly invested in. And so when I saw Aaron Pierre, I said, oh my God, that's perfect. Now, is he a little bit on the lighter side than maybe someone would want as far as the comic book is concerned? Absolutely. But we also have to remember that comic books are illustrations. They are drawn with pencils. So at any given time, I can change which pencil I use when I'm illustrating a character. So that doesn't change who the character is. It just changes the pencil that I use to draw the character or to color the character or to do anything. So if he's playing the character, which is Jon Stewart, and he's giving everything that Jon Stewart was in the comic books, then as a person who enjoys movies and enjoys characters, I will be thoroughly happy and impressed with his acting. So I think, as much as it is a thing, I'm not saying don't acknowledge it. What I'm saying is, in the Black community, don't downplay a person's success or downplay a person's role, because remember, this individual had to work hard to get to the point where he's at, whether it's a light skin, dark skin, whoever, because listen, Idris Elba is loved universally. He's around the board. No one is complaining about Idris Elba. Idris Elba is a nice looking brother,
nigga, man.
Well, you are, bro.
I'll just play it.
No, I get it. I 100%. I 100% get it. Listen. I go through the same thing. I go through the same thing. You know, like, stop it already. So I get it. But I think it's one of those things where us as Black people have to stop allowing what was initially used to divide us to continue to divide us. We have this thing within our community of feeling as though light skins feel like they're superior and dark skins feel like they're inferior, and that has got to change. This is a internal battle that goes on within the community, and we allow the outside entity to influence those decisions and continue to influence those decisions because of the choices that we feel like they make based on those purposes. So I'm not saying anyone is wrong here. I'm just saying that we have to look deeper than just the argument that we continue to have whenever the appearance. Because look, I'm all about ethnicity. Now, when it comes to a character's ethnicity, I'm like, yo, let's support that, because when we talk about Miles, yes, I'm all about making sure that character ethnicity is intact. But am I going to be beating down walls and everything if the character's shade is off? It doesn't pass the brown paper bag test? No, I'm not. I'm really going to be more focused on making sure that they get the right person to play the role, so that the character is kind of celebrated and not humiliated. You get what I'm saying?
I definitely get what you're saying. I'm feeling what you're throwing down there, brother. And I agree with most of what you said. I do think that there is a legitimate concern about the lightwashing of darker characters in the mainstream. And I don't think that it crosses all the spectrum, like, because we don't necessarily always celebrate enough when we do get our dark-skinned characters, right? Like, I felt like when we got The Watchmen and Regina King destroyed that role, I feel like that should have been like everybody should have stopped and watched that role. When we got Sam Wilson, when we got Nick Fury, when we got even Isaiah Bradley, I mean, my God, like, these folks are getting the role and it's like, okay, good, check the box. Instead of like, fuck yeah, we did it. So when somebody goes a little bit off script, it's like, whoa. Now, here's the thing. I think that multiple things can be true at once, right? Like, he can be the perfect actor for it, and Hollywood can also be low-key seeking to put a face that they believe is more marketable by the fact that they are. Because, I mean, we were looking at Damon Idris, what's his old boy from Snowfall?
Idris.
Damson, I keep saying Damon. I want to make it so bad.
Disrespect.
But
the disrespect.
Not only that, but listen, Sterling K. Brown at one point in time was not only like looking for the role, but campaigning for the role. And even Omar, if I'm not mistaken, was like, yo, I actually think that Sterling K. Brown would be a really good way to go about it. I mean, because he's popular. He may not be the heartthrob of Aaron Pierre, but he has the acting chops of Meryl Streep. And I think that he could bring like a new level of acting to the DC universe. But some of what I feel, honestly, like, I feel the same way that my man Omar does. Omar, he gives a perfect description of how it is that he feels about this. So why don't we just go ahead and take a couple seconds and listen to how Omar describes his feelings about this upcoming casted Green Lantern.
Green Lantern got the green light for live action, and Aaron Pierre is our Jon Stewart. This feels like a monkey paw situation because on one hand, Aaron Pierre is a great actor. You saw him in Rebel Ridge when he said, "Man, you got me burning through these letters." I said, "Oh, we being black about it." Rebel Ridge showed us that his build and his temperament portraying a military expert made him a great candidate for Jon Stewart. Problem is, one of these things is not like the other. In other words, colorism. The problem is colorism. Because Green Lantern Jon Stewart is a dark-skinned black man. And dark-skinned characters being adapted to TV or movies rarely stay that way. And sometimes, depending on the artist, they don't even stay that way in their own comic book. So it's understandable why some fans might feel disheartened. The superhero you grew up with that looked like you finally comes to live action, but they won't look like you anymore. But at least they're on the big screen, and at least it's a great actor. And there's no doubt that Aaron Pierre acted his ass off and auditioned his ass off for this role. This is about casting in a cycle we've seen continuously. Talking about colorism might seem tedious to some, but it has to be mentioned because we keep seeing it happen. And while I wish we could have had a dark-skinned actor portray Jon Stewart, I'm a diehard Green Lantern fan. I wasn't joking. So I'm excited to see what Aaron Pierre will bring to the table, especially with Chris Mundy, who did Ozark, Tom King, who wrote for DC Comics, Damon Lindelof, that did Watchmen. This show Lantis is about to be True Detective in space. It's gonna hit crazy. So I'm a bit disheartened, but I'm still here for it, and I hope Lanterns flourishes.
So this is pretty much how I feel in a nutshell. It's like you at this point, you almost have to, I don't want to say you have to, but it's almost expected that you take the good with the bad. It's like, okay, so let's say we do hire the appropriate tone and complexion, but the actor doesn't hit. The project flops. Nobody gives a fuck about Green Lantern anymore. Is that something that we're willing to do? Are we willing to forego this opportunity where we have what's basically a lightning strike of popularity from this dude who they're trying to tap into, which frankly, from a business perspective is brilliant? Or do we say, you know what? You know what I'm saying? Let's make it so that the folks that are on the internet who are going to talk about the fact that the complexion is not what it should be are the ones reigning supreme. My opinion is I wish we could have it both. But the way it feels like in Hollywood, you never really can get exactly what you want. Let's also talk about the fact that we were still railing on let's keep it real. No disrespect, UK, but Londoners and UK folks coming to the United States and taking jobs from American black men. And here's a guy who's both, but because he's got green eyes and, you know what I'm saying, and you know, make you kind of feel, you know, a little good on the inside somewhere, you know, we like, okay, cool. But this is not new. Marvel did this. Do we think that Thor was cast because he was going to bring men to the movie? Yeah, we was gonna see whoever the fuck you put in that role. But when you bring Liam,
no, don't do that. Don't you dare! Don't you do Liam?
I'm sorry.
Don't you do Liam? How dare you? Listen, Liam. How dare you?
What's the other brother? What's the other brother name? Like Chuck Hemsworth. What's his little brother?
Chris Hemsworth. Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth, Liam Hemsworth, and there's another one.
There's a younger brother,
and then the other
brother
one
who don't get no
I met
at all.
Luke.
You met Luke? Yo, you can probably call Luke right now. You're like, what up, Anthony? Like, he doing nothing. And I'm just chilling, just watching. I'm watching y'all a new Order right now. So I just think that bringing heartthrobs as movie leads is nothing new. It's a bit of a change from like Batman is Michael Keaton. You know what I'm saying? But still, you know, when they hired Christopher Reeves, they were thinking the women gonna like this dude. You know what I'm saying? This is not something new. Christian Bale,
same thing with George
same
Clooney.
thing. George, that was they went too far.
It backfired. It backfired.
Yeah, they went too far with the George Clooney. Yeah, I mean, the Val Kilmer, I was like, all right, you know, we can do Val Kilmer. But Val was like, I don't know about this Joel Schumacher bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, then we get George Clooney and we get Chris, his Batman, Robin, Christopher O'Donnell. But yeah, man. So I'm for one, as a black man, I'm looking at this from two different perspectives. As a black man, I completely understand how we feel about him being let's just call it like miscast in the role. Now, I mean, we could, you know, send him to the beaches of Spain for the summer. maybe he comes back lightly toasted, and maybe we can still get him to Jon Stewart's complexion. Let me stop. Tanning beds are a thing, but so I just think that as a black man, I'm upset because I know how much I want representation. How dope would it be if we did have that representation? But what Ty said is also reigning true. We do live in reality, and unfortunately, despite the fact that we do want that black lead role, this guy, like it or not, to quote Khalees, his milkshake is bringing all the girls to the yard.
Yo, tell that to Chadwick Boseman.
Oh,
you know, like, I can't rock with a lot of this because first off, we're talking a lot about divisiveness, right? Like it's got to be one or the other. And before I even start, I don't blame James Gunn, right? This is not his conversation. Mm-hmm. This is not his thing. I don't like the way he casts, but I'm not mad at how he came to this decision. He's the type of person who I think casts in the moment, right? Like he sees a new movie. Ooh, I need them. Supergirl, I just watched Ozark. I'm gonna get her. Like he's the person who to me just casts whatever he just saw and picks a person for whatever he just watched. But when it comes to like what this dude is doing or what he's going to do in the role, I think he's going to do a phenomenal job. I don't like the rhetoric or the idea that it's got to be one or the other. I don't like the rhetoric or the idea that we have to start infighting with each other. I do like the idea that there's room enough for everybody to eat in Hollywood. Aaron Pierre, again, he's going to do a fantastic job. He's going to do a great job. It's just that when you have characters that have a specific purpose, like when they cast Storm, right? For the X-Men movies,
which time
they said we want an African goddess. Right. And African people could probably even get a little tight with Black Panther, but they wanted her to be a dark-skinned African goddess and they cast Halle Berry. Now, I'm not saying anything wrong about casting an Academy Award-winning actress for your movie to help make it more profitable. But when you take something that was intended with a purpose and then you change it, that takes away from what some people were gravitating towards with that character in the first place. And as far as what we were talking about, colorism and things like that, only in our community, that's cap. That is not just our community. When you go to India, when you go to Asia, you go to 100%. China, you go to Japan, they absolutely have colorism issues. They over there bleaching their skin in Asia. So when you go to India, I just came back from Dubai. They have the same issue. You know, like you can't just say here like it's something.
It just started on us right quick, know what I'm saying? I just came back from Dubai right quick, know what I'm saying? You know, I just came back from my trip in Dubai.
Anthony, I did bring that up. I did say that it happens in all the communities except the majority.
No, the main community that don't happen is the ones that started it, which is this is all results of racism and colonialism, and then all of those other races then trying to mimic what happened with it during that time. 100%.
100%.
This is not, look, there's absolutely room for this man to do well in this role. I just also know that somewhere in the world there's a dark-skinned man who would have nailed this role, who would have been an amazing Jon Stewart, who would have brought all the girls to the yard, and he didn't get cast. And again, I'm not blaming James Gunn. This isn't his conversation, but I do feel disappointed when you make a character specifically for the purpose of representation of dark-skinned people, and that person is going to change. Again, I think he's going to do a phenomenal job. I'm just disappointed those people are not going to have one of their handful of superheroes anymore. It was there like 5 of
them. Yeah, fair enough. And I agree, because we all know about the Brahmins in India. Like, they literally have a caste system that is based on how dark or light you are. And yes, Chinese, and I won't say Chinese, any Asian folks act like they don't have dark-skinned people in their whole entire race.
And apartheid. Don't forget South Africa and apartheid. You either black at the bottom, you colored, you mixed, or you white, right? I went to South Africa. They told me I wasn't black. And that was the first time somebody told me I wasn't black.
For this morning, and I'm not appreciating it.
Oh, nigga, I'm trying to leave Florida.
You just flexing on being a world traveler.
South Africa.
I mean, it's important though. But it's important though. It's important to get like that worldly perspective, because sometimes we live in our own bubble in America that we think like things are only a certain way in the world. And then when you do get to see more of the world and you come back, you kind of understand how ignorant we are in America specifically.
Well, let me, if I could, and I know Ty also had his hand up, and this is exactly the conversation that I wanted to have. And Megan, I'm glad you're here. We definitely want to get to the Joker, so don't go too far. I know we got to get to the Joker. But I want to welcome Yaz in. I know Yaz is going through it. She is literally in the heart of the hurricane damage, man. Yaz, are you okay? Is everything good? I see it looked like the house is back up to order. Uh-oh, we muted Yazzie.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Oh, look at that. Milton still fucking shit up, man.
I think it's her internet.
Is it the internet? Oh, man. Look, Milton came and took out the whole internet, man. Damn, Yazzie. No, Yazzie. Come on. All right, well, look, we'll just sit there and I guess you can be our eye candy for the day, I suppose. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Yeah, you as well.
It's important to acknowledge that white people don't have these conversations because they don't have to. Hollywood was built for them,
100%.
and they decide everything. They have whitewashed roles since the beginning of time, and they don't give a fuck. They do not give a fuck, which is why it's important for us to have these conversations, because at what point does it change? Like, at what point do we stop the bullshit and the laziness and just, like, you can't tell me that there's only 20 people in Hollywood.
Well,
like like people are like, oh, we just need a black kid to play Miles. But Miles is Afro-Latino, so I think it's important that it should be an Afro-Latino actor. Like, things like that are essential to the role. So when it's someone who's of a darker complexion or a certain ethnicity, obviously we should get actors. You can find them. Hold a casting call like they used to do back in the day. Like, don't pick from the same roster.
Okay, so I agree. Here's what I think is not being considered, though, and I don't think that this is just a white production thing, because we saw this happen to The Harder They Fall when they miscast Stagecoach Mary. This is a thing that happens. I mean, even let's look back to the freaking, what was that? The Fight Night. What was that movie, Ty? Where Sam Cooke and Mike and Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali, like, they were all
One Night in Miami.
One night in Miami. Like, people was tripping about Malcolm X being casted as old boy that played Bob Marley. You know what I'm saying? And rightfully so to an extent. But the problem, the thing that I think, and I'm not trying to say that this is an excuse, so please don't mistake what I'm saying as me justifying what's happening, but me kind of providing perhaps a little bit more context. So I'm willing to give, said person who's a perfect complexion pick for Jon Stewart a chance. The question is, will it provide the same opportunity? Will waiting for that to possibly happen allow me to miss the moment to increase the popularity of this character? And I think that's what these folks are wrestling with. I don't think that makes it an easy decision. I don't think that makes it right. But I think that that's the dilemma. It's not just, look, here's the perfect cast, but let's just choose this guy because we just feel like it. I think that there is something to be said about actually having the level of the boosted amount of following for a movie. And when like I said, when Ty's wife, my wife, Anthony, I don't know your wife like that, but who knows, maybe her as well. I don't know. Shit. Yeah. When they are coming to us saying, yo, we're interested in this, they're not coming to us saying, but he's a darker, they could give a shit about that. Now, is it fucked up for us comic book fans? We're like, hell yeah. We want him to be casted. If you bring me if goddamn it, if
They don't know.
if Miles Morales looked like Tekashi 6ix9ine, I'll be real mad. You know what I'm saying? I'll be pissed the fuck off. I don't give a goddamn how like my wife feels about it. So I completely understand. I also guess that from a dilemma standpoint, if I am casting, do I wait? Do I wait for the perfect casting, or do I jump now when the iron's hot? And I think that the decision here was to jump when the iron's hot. And the unfortunate folks that go under the bus is people like us who will tell them about themselves for hiring this cast member, but they're thinking this is a relatively mild setback for them to have to deal with the black folks who only make up 13% of the population, making some buzz on the internet that drowns out when you think about the millions of people that are going to view this that are completely ignorant of any comic book history of Jon Stewart, point blank period. And I think that's what ended up resulted in this decision. And if I'm being honest, it's already working. It's already working. We're talking about it this morning because of what controversy and what is brought to the table. I want to say this to Anthony, though. I do think that white folks have kind of internalized. I don't want to say this in general. Look, we love, but in the Hollywood spectrum, like, you see them cast themselves as Cleopatra and everybody in Egypt, and we're like, that's Africa. You know what I'm saying? That's not right. At the same time, like, always waiting for the 100% perfect person to cast, I think sometimes is something that Hollywood decides maybe that's not the right way to go. And I'll take Chadwick Boseman, who I think played the part of Black Panther phenomenally, who I think laid it out for the franchise to go years and years, even though unfortunately he passed. But if you ask somebody in Kenya, ask somebody in Djibouti who should have played Black Panther, they'd probably choose one of the actors from the continent of Africa, because they prefer to see an actor from Africa played by an actor from Africa. So as much as I like Chadwick Boseman, he could have been a better selection as well if we're looking for somebody to authentically be an African actor. Yeah, but we're not Africans. We're not Africans as somebody who actually came from Africa.
But we have African descent. So that's why we have, the opportunity to take on those types of roles. If you look the part, you could tap into, Chadwick Boseman actually did the legwork to look up his ancestry, right? To see what part of Africa he was from. I think he did an interview with the Breakfast Club where he talked about Africa, ancestry, DNA, something like that. And he started to do the legwork. So for that dude to do it, I don't know of there being as much of a response or reaction to him being cast in that role as there is for this particular role.
Agreed.
I remember during Black Panther, Amandla Stenberg was initially screen testing for Shuri. And Amandla was like looking at the rest of the cast, and she was like, I actually got the role, but I'm going to bow out because I think it's too important of a movie for us to have different people of different shades like this just thrown in there. She backed out because she wanted a movie that be consistent with the tone of the characters, where it's just everybody looked like they were from, darker skin. And I commended her for that because she's a phenomenal actress. And there's no telling that she would have been an amazing Shuri. But there are also tons of actors in Hollywood, outside of Hollywood, in London, if you want, in the UK, if you want to, in Africa, that can absolutely do this job. If we start thinking like he's the only person that could have done it, then we have tunnel vision, right? That's something that's up with us now. But there are tons of actors out there. Like, I'm not even going to say him because I know people want to talk about the UK taking American roles, but the dude who was in Alien Romulus, he's hot right now. He is hot right now, and he would have been an excellent Jon Stewart. He would have been the younger acting cast person. He could have bulked up, and he could have did the job too. But there's also that conversation about UK people taking American roles, so I'm gonna save that for a second. That's a whole other divisive conversation I want to touch on.
I don't know if that was as divisive. I mean, it's just a fact. they're taking our roles. Like, I mean, shit, there's nothing to, but if I can say real quick, when you bring that story up, I did have somebody in mind for that role originally. I thought that this guy right here, who some of us may remember from the movie Bird Box, was a decent idea for the role. I think he's a little bit more toward the skin tone of John. Okay, hold on, Megan. All right, Megan. Just yes. She just slapped it. But so I think that he would have made, and so I would have done it. Especially right after Bird Box would have been a perfect time to swoop them up. But I think that ultimately it comes down to timing. I agree with everything Anthony says. I think that it is upon us to make sure that we can make sure that the people that are casted as they are the right ones. And the young lady you cited as turning down the role, and one of our Stephanie actually thinks that Halle Berry should have turned down the original X-Men role. I disagreed with her on that, but I think looking back at it, she might have been right. But yeah, definitely agree with what you're saying. And there's definitely a lot of other people that I think that the decision that was made, though, this sounds to me, Anthony, and y'all just jump ball. This sounds like a decision that was made in a room where there were no Black people.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, can we agree on that?
Yep.
Not enough.
Yeah, not enough. Well, or maybe not the right ones. All right.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. So who knows, man? But can we agree on this? Despite our feelings about how this was rolled out, about Aaron not necessarily fitting the exact role of Jon Stewart, that we still gonna watch this shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
Support him too. And I'm gonna
piqued my interest, so whatever.
So when you say you gonna spoil it, Anthony?
Nah, I said I'm gonna support him too, because at the end of the day, I still want him to win. The dude is still, progressing the culture forward by coming through, acting with class, acting with dignity, and just being phenomenal at his craft. So I'm absolutely still going to support him.
Okay.
Yeah, and the most important part of that, what Anthony said, is he's still a Black man. Like, yeah, he may not be a dark-skinned Black man, but he is still a representation of Black people. And that is more or less my conversation that I would, when Anali says we should have the conversation more, the conversation should be more about loving ourselves enough to understand that we don't have to be divisive and sit here and argue semantics over complexions, because that is what they want us to do. And when I say they, I'm not speaking necessarily about white people, but I am speaking about races. So let's just make sure that we put the blame and the onus on those who need to have the blame and the onus.
It's a delicate balance. It's definitely a delicate balance. But I can definitely say that despite all the news, the backlash, that this is definitely going to take DC in another direction. As I told y'all, DC, there's a gap to be filled with that hole that Marvel left. Pause. That sounds weird, but you understand what I'm saying. So we're looking forward to this movie, man. This TV show, The Lantern Corps. We're gonna check it out, and we'll definitely come back to give you guys our opinions and updates as they do come about. Now, before we go any further, and we might touch back on this subject in a little bit, because as we know, this is a TV show, not a movie. One movie did come out recently, though, and that movie is the Joker 2 movie. And we, unfortunately, all of us, I don't know if that's unfortunate or not, honestly, haven't seen it, but some of us have, and we were hoping to possibly get some feedback from some of our counterparts as to whether or not we should watch this. Now, if I'm not mistaken, both Ty and Megan have seen this movie. So if you could enlighten us and let the folks that are watching and listening, shout out those on Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, all of that, know whether or not after seeing it, you'd recommend it. Let's start with Megan first, please. Megan, your thoughts on the Joker movie.
Okay, my thoughts. So I would say it's not terrible. It's just very underwhelming. So if you were a fan of the original Joker movie, this has a different tone whatsoever. I would say it's not comic book fan friendly at all. And I think the people that are really diehard into the comics are going to hate it. Like if you hated the first Joker movie, you're definitely going to hate this one. If you just like good cinema, I think it's very mid. However, the cinematography is really good. The costume design is really good. The production design is really good as well. So if you just want to see something visually stunning, I would recommend watching this movie. Where it falls flat is the story itself. There's things that doesn't really make any sense at all. The musical aspects, it works in some scenes, but it doesn't work in a lot of scenes. I wish Joaquin Phoenix had better direction when it came to the singing aspects. Same thing with Gaga, even though she's amazing, but there were some choices that were made that didn't really highlight her vocal abilities. So I would say give it a watch if it's like a matinee or when it hits HBO Max or something.
Oh, okay. She says it's a stream. It's not a ticket. What say you, Ty?
I feel like Megan is being very thoughtful and nice. And I definitely appreciate it. I can agree with everything that she said as far as the cinematography, as far as the program, the designs and everything. The acting was phenomenal. I will give that. I will say that Joaquin, when he comes to these type of acting gigs, he really does invest, I think, in that aspect of it. But yeah, it was a lot of it felt jumbled. It felt very jumbled, and it just did not connect the dots the way it should have. And I think this movie could have been a lot better. I think the musical aspect of it was unnecessary. A lot of it was unnecessary. There were parts where, all right, I was like, all right, cool. All right. But if they would have just kept it at like a very minimal, then it might have been, but they started to get it started to get like annoying, because it was just like, all right, we're doing it in this scene, and we're doing it in that scene, and now here we are again. And then the song choices, like she said, you got Lady Gaga. The girl's got pipes. Why are you singing nursery rhymes? Like, what are we doing here? And I was just like, So, without spoiling, even though, it's one of those movies that, again, if you're gonna watch it, it's probably best that you wait until it comes to stream. I wouldn't waste my dollars on it. I wouldn't go to this because if you have an expectation, you're definitely gonna be disappointed. And I think I had a little bit of an expectation because I thought the Joker movie was pretty damn good. I thought the original was good. And this, it just it didn't hit. It didn't. I was waiting, and I was the whole movie I'm watching. I'm like, all right, it's about to hit. It's about to hit. It's about to hit. Oh, it's about to hit. It's about to hit. I was saying it was about to hit all the way until the credit.
Literally saying.
I was like, oh, this is the part. I was like,
this is the part. This is it. Oh no!
I was like, it's over. It's over.
It goes
There's
nowhere.
No,
yeah.
I was like, wow. Okay.
So let me ask y'all this before we move on. We don't normally always address the comments, but Antoine Film, shout out to Antoine, just put up this comment, and I thought that it was relevant. And tell me if this makes any sense to you. He says Todd Phillips didn't want to do it. I think that it's real theory. I would have taken the money and say F you to the process. Did they force this guy to give them a Joker 2? And he said, all right, but you're not coming back for part 3. And we're gonna squander this on people that I like Lady Gaga, Mr. Phoenix. We're gonna make it a Disney music, a live action Disney musical. And if you come and see it, great. If not, I don't give a fuck. I still got hangover money. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that what we're seeing here? Ty and Megan jump off.
I mean, I've been hearing two different things. I just kind of was. So I don't really know the context about why this film was made, really, but I've been hearing that this was kind of like an FU to the last Joker project, or like how people took it, you know, misinterpreting the themes of the original Joker movie. So I'm like, okay, with that context, a lot of people like it. However, I'm like, well, you're really alienating a lot of the audience who actually wants to see a good movie, because if you're just making a troll film, what's the point? You're gonna lose money anyway, and that's what
Troll film.
yeah, if you're just making a movie just to troll, I mean, like, that's good in, like, the video art context, but this is a movie with a budget behind it. Like, the budget was budgeting in this movie. So you're just losing out money just to troll studios. Like, what the heck?
Wow.
It does not help anything. It does not help the reputation of Gaga. And does not help the reputation of Joaquin Phoenix. Like, and he's very selective with the movies that he's in. Like, he's notorious for that. He actually took a hiatus from movies for a while. So I wouldn't be surprised, and this is my opinion, I would not be surprised if he doesn't do a movie for quite a while after this. Just saying.
Yeah,
ever again.
Wow.
He might not do it. Well, he might not do it ever again. Yeah, he might not. Yeah, I mean, because you can tell.
Bad?
Yeah, listen, you can tell based on what she just said, you can tell that he invests a lot of time studying a character and trying to, like, when it comes to his movements and the way that he portrayed himself on camera, you can tell he invested a lot of time in trying to figure out, how do I play this person on the brink of madness, and like, how do I make it look a certain way on camera? You could tell that part. But when it came to the storyline and just, well, like, this was meant, I could tell this was meant to be a love story, but in the worst kind of way. It was like, it was a manipulative, like, it was like, I want to root for somebody, but who do I root for? And that's where I was like, wow, there's no one to root for. Like, everybody's just,
there is a lack of chemistry there for sure.
Yeah.
Damn. Well,
I won't be everyone's unlikable in this, but not like in it's not in like they're so bad they're good way. It's just like you can't root for anyone in this movie, which is unfortunate because, and even in Joker, he's supposed to be like the first Joker. He's supposed to be in not a character that you root for, but you end up kind of rooting for him in a weird way too. But at the same time with this movie, it's kind of like, okay, what's the point of this?
Wow.
Thematically, story-wise, whatever. But hey.
Hey, man. Well, listen, Megan, what do you think you'll check out next now that Joker 2 wasn't your favorite?
Oh, boy. Because that was one of my most anticipated films of the year. So, yeah, I was very disappointed for that. But I as far as like future films that are coming out, I am going to watch Wicked. I think that's going to be a pretty good movie. And yeah, it's a musical. I'm a musical girly, so I'm going to watch that next. There's a movie that I've heard so many great things about. It's called Anora. I'm really excited to see it whenever that comes out. And yeah, I mean, like right now, I mean, I would say as far as 2024 movies, a lot of them have been underwhelming. I keep hearing a lot of great things about The Substance, so whenever that comes out on streaming, I'm definitely gonna watch that.
Watched it.
I heard it's amazing.
Demi is in full. Demi is in her full role. Yes, Demi is doing her thing.
Yeah, so I can't wait for that. But yeah, there's a lot of movies I have to catch up on that are now on streaming. But I mean, I'm just taking the year as it goes. I mean, like Joker was the biggest disappointment of this year, and I usually do a disappointment list at the end of the year. But so far that's like on the top of my list.
Oh wow, damn. Okay,
so far,
hopefully that's let's hope it stays there. Well, listen, Megan, I know you're out there on the West Coast, and you probably got a whole day of stuff coming ahead of you, know what I'm saying? So we definitely appreciate you pulling up, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, y'all, let's go ahead and say thanks to Megan for pulling up for us real quick. Appreciate you. And hopefully you'll join us again sometime in the future, especially when you have movie projects that we can delve into. So yeah, guys, Megan's World. Make sure y'all follow her at Megan's World right down there at the bottom left corner. We appreciate you, Megan. Let's go ahead and keep this going. All right, guys. Well, Megan's gonna head out, but it doesn't mean we don't have more to talk about. I want to throw this up as a jump ball real quick. I want to know from you guys if this is a good idea or not. Are we liking The Rock as Apocalypse? Jump ball. Somebody tell me what they think. All right, I'm gonna take that as
I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed to it. It depends on if you're giving Apocalypse a lot of speaking roles. I don't really feel like Apocalypse. I don't really feel like Apocalypse has to have a lot of speaking roles because he just kind of comes through and F stuff up. But if you're talking about having him like do all of these scenes where he's doing like a whole lot of talking, then no, absolutely not. I would be opposed to it. But if we're talking about looks and we're talking about what he could bring to the villain, I thought Black Adam, the movie itself wasn't good, but I didn't feel as though The Rock's role as Black Adam was terrible. I didn't feel that. I thought that he has the potential to be a decent villain. And Apocalypse is, I think, if they bring him into the MCU, he would be a Thanos type villain, like he would be that of that level. So this could potentially be like multi-films. So it just depends on how they roll them out, man. Because like I said, if they just put them on scene and let them fuck shit up, cool. I could deal with that. But if they're like over here having them have full on, scenes where he's just talking or I've come to the like, if he does too much, then I'm just like, all right.
Yeah. If Oscar couldn't do it, I mean Isaac. Isaac. What's the name again? Oscar Isaac.
Isaac.
Well, yeah. If he had trouble with it, I don't know. And he actually has acting chops. I would definitely think that The Rock couldn't. What do you, Anthony? You seem to have an opinion.
I thought Oscar Isaac did a good job as Apocalypse. I just think the writing in that movie was terrible. If now The Rock as Apocalypse kind of makes me nervous, same as like Ty was saying, like if he has a lot of speaking lines. And I grew up on those X-Men cartoons, and Apocalypse would always give those crazy monologues like suffer at my feet. He'd be like Storm with the monologues. So it's like that kind of has me nervous, especially when I get flashbacks of the Scorpion King. Like I don't want to see all that makeup, all that CGI. Like that kind of makes me nervous. That and I'm just not really feeling Marvel like I used to. So I don't like the way they handle villains at all. I haven't seen a Marvel villain that I've liked since Killmonger or maybe Thanos. But yeah, I just don't really feel good about this casting because it doesn't feel like it's casting to suit the role. It feels like it's casting to drum up interest, and that isn't always my favorite kind of casting.
You know what? You might be onto something there. The Rock is no Aaron Pierre, but he has millions of followers, and just to get them in the movies, it would be wise or at least considerable. But I just real quick, just to touch on the Marvel thing, I feel the same way as a Marvel fan. You know what I'm saying? That we're disappointed by the last few years of lackluster developmental projects. How much of that do you attribute to the Jonathan Majors like dust up? Because the whole entire Phase 5 was based on Kang, right? And then Kang ultimately becomes a wash. I don't think that it's an excuse because there's so many projects that have nothing to do with Kang. And even when Ant-Man was out, Kang was completely free of, well, I don't say completely free of controversy, and the movie still didn't hit. Do you think that there's any, Anthony, as a Marvel fan, any credence to the Anthony excuse me,
because like when I look back at Jonathan Majors, the projects that Jonathan Majors was in, his performances was always the highlight of those projects. Like when you look at Ant-Man,
exactly,
he was the best thing in Ant-Man. Like whenever he was on screen, I was ready to turn back up. I was like, yeah, beat his ass.
Right.
Like I would have been happy if they would have let him take Ant-Man out, and that would have really set his character.
That's what we all. Yes.
Thank you.
I liked him in Loki. He showed his versatility and portraying all of those different variants. You know, aside from his outside controversy, Jonathan Majors was on point. The writing was bad. It was the writing that and the way that they handled other aspects of the story that was bad. And as far as Kang not hitting, that was a fumble on them, right? Kang was like, one thing I love about Marvel and what they have been doing lately is they have been giving Black people of all different shades and complexions lots of opportunities. There was no reason in the world to make Kang Black. None. But they was like, yo, this man is talented. This man is got the energy. He's got the charisma. We're gonna make Kang Black for this movie. And they do that sometimes. They will adjust the race and stuff for the characters. Yeah, well, Nick Fury actually had some foundation in the comics because of the version of Nick Fury that they adapted. There was this Ultimate line.
It was from Outworld.
It was an Ultimate line of comics where they intentionally made their Nick Fury look like Samuel L. Jackson without his permission. And when he caught wind of it, he was like, well, listen, you could continue to use my likeness, but if you ever make a movie, I'm in it. And that was very risky of Marvel to do because they could have been sued like crazy. But again, like Marvel does go out of their way to now give Black people opportunities. We got the Ironheart series coming. And we have something that DC has still yet to do is they're actually letting Black men lead movies. Like I do commend DC for letting them, you know, co-star alongside other people in the television shows. But Marvel actually lets Black people star in movies, which have a much bigger reach and a much bigger platform on a global scale than any television show. I just wish that the writing was up to par to really make it something to get excited about.
So, I mean, but I guess that was my question. Like, so we all agree Kang was phenomenal, but did Marvel have to like just in some of the you know what, maybe this is a topic for another day, but I feel like like somewhere in there, like the Jonathan Majors, but not like the whole controversy kind of threw Marvel. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think that the direction they were going was that great. They
could have recast. They could have recast, right? They could have gotten there's a lot of actors in the world. I remember there were polls immediately of like who could play this character if you can't pick Jonathan Majors, and the list was long. I think one of my favorite ones was that, you know, Kang appears in different timelines, and I know this is going to be super popular, but have Denzel Washington play an older Kang and have John David Washington play a younger Kang and let them go to war. And I would have been cool with that.
But for some reason, Denzel seems to be averse to playing in Marvel movies, but that's for another day.
I think he just wants it to be a one and done. Like if he does it, I think he wants in and out, and that would have been a great opportunity to have him appear as like a Mortis or an older version of Kang, have the younger version of Kang take him out, and then go forward from there.
Yeah. I like that. Darth Urbis says that the whole Phase 5 being based on Kang was a problem in the first place. I think that's a good take. What's up, Ty?
I was just gonna say, I think the reason that Marvel has moved the way that Marvel has moved for some time now is because of lack of competition. When you have a lack of competition and you feel like you can just drop anything because you're the only source of content, then you become lazy and complacent. At one point, DC did have some, you know, like some competent, like there was at least an action of trying to compete. Now, whether or not they were successful, we all know that they weren't, but there was at least a competitor. Right now, Marvel is moving like we the only ones on the block with this. Like it feels like drugs. It's like, yo, like you can't go nowhere else to get what we got. So we gonna up the price. We gonna up the price, and look, you either get it from here or you don't get it. And that's kind of where I think the problem has been with Marvel and that laziness. Now, one of the things that I see DC and also to Anthony's point about lead actors, I will give James Gunn credit for having the lead actor of Idris Elba in that
Suicide Squad
lead of Black and in the Suicide Squad
he was
reboot.
He was a member of
It was an ensemble.
It was an ensemble, but he was the lead. He was the lead in that. But you're right. There were other actors.
Fair enough.
And everything like that.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'm just saying, like, at this point, if DC is able to have any level of success, that kind of start seeing a shift and people starting to actually be interested in these DC projects, because we still have Peacemaker, which is yet to drop another season, by the way.
I love Peacemaker.
We all love Peacemaker. And those and now you have the Aaron Pierre project with the Lanterns, which looks and could be very successful. And you have the Penguin, which obviously is a Matt Reeves universe, but it's still a DC property. If you start seeing a consistency over there, then maybe that will jump start some shit over at Marvel, because at this point right now, they're just dropping shit. They're just dropping shit. Yeah. They're like, all right, well, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. They'll watch it because there ain't shit else to watch. And that's kind of what I think is the reason why Marvel has been in a slump for so long.
Which is crazy. Yaz, just doing a wellness check. Is everything okay in the house? You good? Just making sure Yaz is good. Just blink twice. Okay. Yes, it's our silent movie for the day. She's in the comment section. So those of y'all, please check in with Yaz. She's man in the comments. Well, that's something. Here's a couple other things real quick before we get off. I don't know what this is, but I don't even think we should talk about it. Let's wait to see what happens. But I'm excited about John Boyega coming back into the fold. Would he have been a good Green Lantern? No.
John Boyega is a great actor, and I don't.
Whatever.
I probably would. He wouldn't have been my first pick, but he would have been good at it.
You know who I think would have been a good John Stewart too? Yahya
Abdul-Mateen would have nailed it.
I think he would have been a really good Green Lantern. I think he would have been the good John Stewart.
But he's the Mantis, right? I guess it doesn't matter.
It matters not. It matters not. It matters. Yo, DC is in talks about changing Aquaman to Lobo. They're in there.
Are you serious?
Yes, they're in talks. They've been in talks with Jason Momoa about possibly being Lobo in the DC universe. So yeah, that's
they're wilding.
They don't care.
All right.
They don't care.
All right. Well, speaking of the DC universe, real quick, what are our thoughts, Jump Ball, on a live-action Voltron and of Henry Cavill being casted as a live-action Voltron? Jump Ball. I see Yaz. Yaz looks encouraged. Yeah. Yaz likes it. Anthony likes it too. Okay. All right. Why is it taking so long to get a goddamn Voltron movie? Like, what the fuck? Like, we got to go through 2 Pacific Rims. You know what I'm saying? To get a Voltron movie. Like, what we got 2 Mighty Morphin Power Ranger movies before we get a Voltron movie? What's the holdup? Like, why did it take so long to get a Voltron movie? And why am I afraid? Why am I afraid of this movie? Because I feel like there's too much that goes on in the world of Voltron to introduce in one movie, baby, with each lion having their own. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. I wish I could hear Yaz's voice. Anthony, what makes you excited about this, bro?
I love Voltron. I grew up on Voltron, in the 80s, 90s. I like the reboot that they did on Netflix. I think they have some really good stories with Voltron. I know in my opinion, I have guesses as to what the holdup is. The holdup is that once you start adapting something with rights with other people and something that studios have to invest a lot more in just to be able to bring it to the big screen, they are afraid to make creative risks, right? So that's why you have to have like a big name like a Henry Cavill associated with it before it comes out to theaters. Nobody knew if Sonic the Hedgehog was going to do good until they had Jim Carrey in it, right? That's when they really started to feel confident in it. So I'm excited for Voltron because I want to see those big giant robot battles in space with the big form blazing sword. I need all of that, right? Like,
yes.
So I hope they do it justice. And I know Henry Cavill is enough of a nerd that he advocates for stories that stay true to the source. Right. So like I like having him associated with it because he'll be a voice for us behind the scenes.
By us, you mean who?
The nerds.
Nerds. Fans. All of us.
Like, is Henry coming to the cookout?
That's the only reason why we don't
I was like,
slow down.
His name is Henry Orenthal Cavill. But yo, he just brought me back. Form, blazing sword, form, legs, the arms, and I'll form the head.
That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking forward to the most is when they start playing the theme music when they go to form. That is when that happens on live screen. I'm gonna go crazy. Like,
oh my god,
you know,
yes, Voltron is this cartoon that used to come on back in like the 80s.
Look at her face. Don't play with me. Don't play with me.
Come on, we gotta mess with the younger man. Yeah, it's like 20 years old, man. Shit, man.
Did you ever see the reboot?
All right, my bad. Yeah, my bad. You done got close to the screen.
Did anybody on the cast see the reboot that was on Netflix? The Voltron reboot? Because that was really good.
I watched it.
I think it was like 4 seasons, 5 seasons.
It was like 7 seasons. It was
seasons. It was like
seasons a year.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
What do we want to see from a Voltron movie? I'll tell you what I want to see. Like he just said, the form blazing sword. But let's talk about plot because this is not Thundercats. All right, who was the main villain in Voltron?
What was his name? Like,
do we remember?
Lotar or something like that. It was something weird. Zartan.
It was Lotar. Lotar. Yeah, Zartan and Lotar. Lotar was the son, right? Lotar was the son. He wore the hat that had the helmet with the things on it and shit. He was blue, and then and Zolt, whatever they was in. It was always in the palace. Always in the palace. You know what I'm saying? On some old Gina. So here's what I think this movie has to have that the cartoon didn't have: romance. Okay. Vulgarity.
The cartoon.
What you mean? They had romance with the princess.
Yeah.
They implied relationships. But did they actually kiss? Did they actually have scenes where they interacted as a couple?
I want to say
because they're gonna have to go in and they want to get women. If they want to get.
I want to say.
Okay, let me know because I didn't watch. I don't want
to. And I mean, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I want to say her and the red, was it the red?
The dude,
yeah, the red and the Red Lion. I think they did have a relationship. Well, I don't know if it was a relationship, but I think they did that most certainly kiss at some point. So I don't know, but you want to see vulgarity? Yeah. You want to see vulgarity?
We're not going to see vulgarity. We're not going to see it, but I would like it. You know what I'm saying? I like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the unofficial reboot where they came back and like the Black Ranger was like doing coke like, with the shit in the room with the strippers and shit. Like I like that shit. I don't know why I love that shit. It's just funny to me. But anyway, I'm interested in this. I think it's fair to say all of us are interested. Nolly, did you watch Voltron, Nolly?
Mm-hmm. And I watched the Netflix reboot.
Did you? Let me ask you this. Would you consider the original Voltron anime? Never thought about that, have you?
Yeah. I never thought about it, but I think I would.
I mean, I think it's from like one of them Funimation type studios. Anthony, I don't know if we should consider this anime or not.
I think it is because anime in the 80s kind of had that style, right? Like when you look back at like Vampire Hunter D and the other one I'm thinking of.
He just took me back. Ninja Scroll.
Ninja Scroll was a little bit more stylized to Japanese styles, but like when you look at that cartoon, they still had like the designs. They had like the big eyes. They were just super exaggerated, and I think that they were doing things that embraced the Japanese culture on a low key level. So yeah, I would consider it an anime. We just wasn't really like identifying anime the same way when we were children.
True. I actually feel like that Silverhawks, all of those, everything they kind of fell under that anime.
Thundercats is like it was is in there too.
Yeah, all of them little joints. Well, listen, we're hoping that the Voltron movie, when it comes out, is phenomenal. I mean, shit, for Henry Cavill to be in it, that's a big deal. The question is, what role will he play? I don't know. I'm assuming he's going to play somebody that's in the member of Voltron. He's not going to play like, the villain. You don't think so?
I want him to be the villain. Like, he needs to be like Prince Lothar and be like hating and just like giving these Voltrons the business. Like, Superman go against Voltron. That's what I need to see, right? Like, get a team of young people to really play all of the captains of the Lions. That's really what I'm looking for.
That's a better idea. Yeah, I would rather see him as a villain than be the hero. I question whether or not they'll go that route, but that would be a better story, so to speak, especially getting him on the cast. I'd love to see who else gets casted in this role, by the way. Lastly, on Voltron, is it a mistake to make this a movie rather than a series? No?
Not at this
Nolly,
point.
no?
Not when you no.
Because I picture a fleshed out Voltron that gives us background on each lion. I don't see that happening in a 2-hour feature film.
Why do we need background on each lion? We need background on the pilots. Like the lions.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. I don't mean the lions. I don't mean the actual machines. I mean like the lion and the person that goes. I want to see Pidge and his struggles being the youngest one. Lance, the fat one, you know what I'm saying, or whatever he calls himself. Okay,
yeah,
well, I guess
and more importantly, if you want backstory, go watch the 7 seasons on Netflix, or the 3 or 4 seasons before that.
Just go back to my childhood.
You got plenty of historical content. That's come on, man.
All right, fair enough. Well, then that's in the wraps then. So good luck to you, Henry Cavill. Real quick mention for Tomb Raider, as we already discussed, that's coming back out. But since we did talk about Marvel a little bit earlier when we were discussing how The Rock may come back, I want to just tune us back in to another project real quick before we close out with From. So don't go anywhere because we got to get into From. But this week we did have another episode of Agatha. I don't know if everybody got a chance to watch it or not. I'm interested to hear what you all thought about it. If you liked it, loved it. If you didn't like it at all, no questions. Just gonna throw it up there. Did anybody? All right, I'm just gonna say it. Look at Anthony. Anthony is like, I'm not even giving that. I'm not clicking. I'm not giving them nan view in this bit. Did anybody see Agatha this week? Anybody by chance? Yeah, you did. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Nolly? What did you think about it?
I liked it.
Yeah, okay. I actually didn't mind this episode. This episode got me thinking, okay, if they can do this more, I might could watch it. What was it that you liked about it, Nolly?
I like the spooky shit because it's spooky.
Yes.
Give me more spooky shit, Disney. Mm-hmm. I also like because I've been holding it in since the show started because I already knew who Billy was when it started. So I've been holding it in, but I felt like a sense of like justification, like yes, bitch.
So you knew.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait.
Because
So is that who we think it is?
It's Wanda's son, isn't it?
He's Wiccan.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Wiccan?
Yeah, Billy.
What? Oh shit.
He's in this episode, the outfit that he's wearing is the same outfit he was wearing during Halloween and WandaVision when he was younger.
Oh. Yo. Okay. All right.
So the minute
I wasn't. I just had the moment.
Just like your mother, I was like,
"Oh, yo! I didn't see it. I mean, I saw it, but I didn't realize it. Sorry. Yeah. What? Okay, so this is Wiccan, one half of Wiccan and Speed, who we met in the WandaVision series. Well, I mean, if you watch this, obviously they're in the comics, but who came to life via magic. And it's kind of confusing, actually, how they still exist, if I'm being honest. Because didn't Nolly, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't in Doctor Strange, didn't they kind of go away?
So my understanding is the ones that were in WandaVision those were the ones that were a figment of her imagination, but they do exist in the other universes. And I think because we're doing the whole multiverse shit right now, I don't know how he got here. I hope they explain it well, but they are real, just not on Earth 616. So maybe they came from a different Earth version.
So are we assuming now that maybe it was not Agatha, but Wanda who put the hex or the, what was it called, the sigil on Wiccan to prevent him from identifying himself?
I have a theory, and I don't know if it's right, but I do have a theory. I think he's working with Rio or someone else, and that's other person or Rio put the hex on.
Rio, who's Rio? Oh, the girl, the girl. Okay, yeah. Oh, you think that would work?
Yeah.
Okay. So real quick, I wish you asked, man, fucking hurricane, man. It's all good. Because we love you as recaps. But real quick, for those who are wanting to know, and we won't spend forever on this because we want to get on over to front, because I can't wait to start talking about this, because what the fuck. But for Agatha, this episode got me to finally say, okay, it's not, this episode particularly wasn't trash, because like you said, Nali, it got real horror flick, like in the middle of it. It went to like some Exorcist type shit, yo, and it was convincing. And the best part in it for me, frankly, was, all right, spoiler alert. Let me throw the spoiler alert up for those of y'all planning on watching it. I don't think anybody here is going to watch it. I know Anthony, he just completely turned off. It was like, get this shit off my face. So spoiler alert real quick. For at the end of the episode, Catherine Hahn, Agatha, she said something to Wiccan that made me think, oh, this conniving ass bitch. Like she said something like, she was like, we don't have to do this, or something like that. And she was like, but don't we? Or some shit, like she whispered in his ear some shit like, don't you want to? What the hell? Like,
he said he's not thirsty for power like she is, and she's like, aren't you, or are you, or like basically, aren't you? So it leads me to believe she does know who he is, though, and that kind of, like, when you say stuff like that, it makes the way she's been like, because the way they've written this storyline and made it seem as though it was her son, until we finally hear Nicholas Scratch through the Ouija board and realize, okay, it's not her son. But then when she made that comment to him, it made me in that moment feel like she knows exactly who he is. You know what I mean? Because to insinuate that thing, but again, the witches all said, they said before, they was like, that's what we are all thirst for. We all thirst for power. Like, we all want power. You know what I'm saying? And so it's still hard to follow for me, but I did that that little bit of now knowing that Wiccan is this is definitely trying to tie, I guess, at some point at the end of the series. I'm almost certain we'll see Wanda again. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And, yeah, because everything just points in the direction of, we're trying to tie this into WandaVision and make sure we keep that in your head space, that this is an extension of WandaVision. Like, I feel like everything is like pointing in that direction. Like, they keep on, teasing the Wanda. Now you got Wiccan, and now you like, so it all kind of seems like that's pointing to that. And we may finally get Mephisto, for all we know. Like, we've been calling for his name, calling his name, and calling for him to show up. And maybe this in this series is when you finally get him. Like, because one thing about Mephisto is he can reincarnate the dead. He can bring back a soul. So if you believe that those versions of her children who were manifestations of what she created with her power had souls, then it wouldn't be beyond the realm of possibility that a Mephisto could reincarnate or bring one of them to life, because this version is looks to be maybe 8 years older than the versions that she had as children, because those were like, I want to say they were like 8 or 9, maybe. And this kid is a full-on teen.
Yeah. Nolly, what's up?
Yeah, no, I think we're gonna see Mephisto before the series ends, because remember, Mephisto is in Ironheart.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, Sacha Baron Cohen is gonna play Mephisto.
Are we okay with that?
I mean, that sounds like they're gonna make.
It sounds like something he'd be good at.
Sounds like they're gonna make him jokey.
It's nice.
I wonder if we'll see Madison.
It's me, I'm Mephisto. I'm from Tasconia. It's a nice. I don't know. Borat is I don't know. Anyway, it is what it is. Well, good luck. Oh shoot, I did this a little too early. All right. Well, hey, that leads us into the next thing. Well, listen, congratulations, Agatha. You kept my attention, and I didn't hate the episode at the end of it. And I think I might actually, if it keeps going in this direction, start liking it. So let's keep that going.
It was just too short.
Too short? You thought it was? It's too short.
It's only 25 minutes. Give me a full 30. You don't raise prices and only give me 25 minutes. In this economy.
It's the shrinkflation bullshit.
All
right, man. Hey, listen, we've been waiting to get to this. I want to talk Penguin with y'all, but I'm not gonna lie. I think that we might just forego the Penguin and go on From. I'll let y'all help me make this decision. Should we talk a little Penguin? That shit. I mean,
no. We got too much. From's gonna take too much time.
Okay. No. So
I got thoughts and feelings.
Okay. So can we do a little Penguin, and then can we at least broach? Can we start From, because it's gonna keep happening, and we ain't even talked Vox Machina. Like we're so far behind right now, but definitely want to get into the Penguin show real quick. But man, Anthony, you're telling us that From is a cult classic that we like. I mean, before we even talk about it, we'll talk a little Penguin, but before we even get there, just kind of like give us an idea, like folks, why they should or should not be watching From.
I honestly think From is in the top 5 television shows this year, if not top 3. If not for Penguin really coming through and giving it some serious competition, there would be no competition. From is in a league on its own. The only problem I have right now is that From gets 0 promotion, or at least it's not being promoted the way I think it should be. Look, for all of you who are not familiar with From, I need y'all to do me a favor. I need y'all to give me 8 minutes of your time. I just need 8 minutes, right? From is on Amazon Prime right now. Go to season 1, episode 1. Watch the first 8 minutes of the first episode. And I'm gonna make a promise to you. Look, if you watch the first 8 minutes and you're not feeling it, it's not for you, fine, walk away. We cool. We can still be friends. But if you're just a little bit intrigued, if you're a little bit curious, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and finish the whole damn season. Finish the whole damn season. Do yourself a favor and be part of the Fromly, because it's gonna get better. But you only need 8 minutes to really decide if it's going to be something for you or for not. But I honestly think that it is hands down one of the best television shows out right now. It's just a severe injustice that it doesn't get the type of promotion that we see with like a show like Penguin. Amazon and MGM are just not giving it the gas it needs to really take off.
How would you describe From as a genre?
Horror drama.
Yeah.
Mystery, thriller.
Absolutely mystery. Not less thriller, more horror. Because it's definitely some horrific stuff going on in this show.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So would you recommend it for non-horror film watchers or non-horror fans?
Absolutely. If you like somebody who only likes thriller, like Gone Girl or something like this ain't that. This is going to be some scary stuff happening up in here. It's like some really terrifying monsters in this show, and it's being led by the phenomenal Harold Perrineau, who a lot of people know from Lost. I think he played in. He gassed me with Z Nation. I thought he was going to be in that show. But like he is acting like he is giving Emmy Award performances every single season. This man is doing his thing.
Okay. All right. Well, I've started it. I actually started a while back, and I can say it's definitely worth the watch. And I want to chat on it a little bit more, but like Nolly said, it's so in depth. It's so much going on. Like to try to cram it in a quick 5-minute session is going to be very difficult. So if we have some time, maybe we'll recap, but more than likely we'll dedicate a lot more time into the show, since we won't be talking Joker or anything next week moving forward. But for now, at the bare minimum, man, let's go ahead. And if you can recall, which one of the things I hate the most, frankly, about Penguin, which I love, is when it comes on Sunday and we watch and we talk about it on Saturday. Maybe there's something we can do about that. I don't know. But this week's episode was revealing, should I say the least. Jump ball, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Who liked the episode? What'd you like about it? If you didn't like it, why you ain't like it? Jump ball, talk to me. What's going on?
All right. Well, I'll just say that the more and more I watch this, the more and more I'm intrigued with the character. And I think with that is a testament to the writing. I personally, when Penguin first dropped and when you mentioned it to us, I was a little bit leery. I was like, who really is like, caping for the Penguin? Like that's one of my least, interesting characters in the DC universe. But the way that they are portraying him on camera and the way that they are giving you the backstory and everything like that, my emotions are on a roller coaster ride when it comes to Penguin. In moments, I'm like, this dude is terrible, and then there's moments where I'm like, I feel his dilemma. Like he's right. This is a person who's always had this look and has always been made to feel less than. And there's a moment in this episode, which I won't go too deep into it just in case people still haven't seen it, but there's a moment in this episode.
it's Saturday.
Okay, spoil it. All right, cool. All right. All right, cool. So there's a moment in this episode where Victor decides to leave Penguin. And in that moment, Penguin is like, yo, you think I've been keeping you hostage? What do you mean? Like, because you realize that Penguin has been trying to develop a relationship with Victor from the onset, and Victor has been fearful and working for Penguin in a way where he's like, yo, I'm scared for my life. And I got to do whatever this guy says or he'll kill me. And rightfully so, because that's what Penguin told him in the initial. But somewhere through that, he starts to really delve into Victor's background and kind of like telling Victor, like there was a moment where they're having lunch or whatever, and everybody knows that Victor has a stuttering problem. And Victor is trying to make an order, but it's not coming out. And then the waiter kind of I think understands what he's trying to order, and so kind of completes his statement. And Penguin is like, yo, don't do that. Yo, this man is talking. And And then Victor was like, you don't have to do that for me. He was like, yo, you're right. You got to do it for yourself. Like it's like, yo, you should be doing that. Don't let people treat you any less than. And that is like an important thing, because you realize in that moment that Penguin is trying to change the narrative, that people think of him a certain way. He wants people to understand that, look, I'm way more than what you think I am, because everybody thinks he's less than. And that moment when he tells Victor, you think I was keeping you hostage, dude? Like I'm looking at you like family. I'm treating you like family. And it hurt. You saw Penguin hurt for the first time in this series when Victor decides to leave him. Like he's now like starts. I think in that moment, and I can't really say for sure, but I think in that moment he starts to maybe feel like what people are saying about him is true. And you see that at the bar, like when he's in that moment, he's just kind of just sad that it's like, well, damn, am I this bad? Am I as bad as people say that I am? Am I really that intolerable? Am I really this? And I think that was a testament to where the writing makes you, I think good writing makes you have these feelings about a character there. And I think that's what I was saying about Joker is you want to root for somebody, but there's no one to root for. And I think as a fan, you understand that the Penguin is a sociopath. You absolutely understand that. But there's moments when you're like, well, did society make it this way? Like, is there a way that I can kind of identify with the way that he's feeling? And this is why I love this show so much. There are so many characters that you get these layers from, and they like Sophia, another one. Just like every time I see her on screen, she's phenomenal. I can't get enough of her. Like I really cannot get enough of Sophia Falcone. And the more and more I'm watching the show, each and every episode, I'm liking more and more about it. And that is what I call great writing, great storytelling. And this is why the Penguin is probably going to win a lot of awards.
Yeah, I mean, outside of the makeup and the character just being depicted so masterfully by somebody who doesn't look or sound at all like him is automatically going to put it up for some awards. But I'm going to tell you what I like the most about this show, bro. I love the Dexter appeal of this show. And by that, I mean the fact that you root for the bad guy, not somebody who's bad trying to be good, but somebody who's bad trying to be the best at being bad. And I love it. They're giving us his character arc. We know his mom. We know about his troubles with his foot. We know about him, but even though he got a foot, he got a fucked up face, still got a fine ass girlfriend. Let me just say that real quick. I don't know if that's his main chick or if he's on the payroll, but handle your business, homeboy. And I love the fact that he's not on some journey to be benevolent, that he has no intention to be some do-good Penguin Oswald Cobblepot's for mayor. No, he's like, no, man, I want to run this shit. And you can see him clearly like using his conniving ways to manipulate himself to the top. We all know how the story ends. We know who the Penguin ends up being. You know what I'm saying? But to see like him go from, like you said, having hurt feelings to being like, yo, fuck Sophia. We gotta get the fuck out of here. Leave her.
Look, more importantly, right after he tells her, I'm gonna do whatever I can do to make you trust me more. And then he leaves her.
Literally.
Leave her.
I think we may have the sound on that, but we'll let it ride. But yeah, man, I love the fact that they're leaning into the villainry. It was so important to me that they showed that one scene. It stays stuck in the graphic nature of when Penguin stabbed that dude because he had to, because Vic wasn't able to, to deliver, and he was like, "Oh fuck, well, my bad, bro. I'm sorry, I gotta kill you." You know what I'm saying? I love that shit. That shit's dark. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need that in my life. But also, I want to just kind of delve into the fact that this was also Victor's origin story, and we got to learn a lot more about Victor. We got to learn why it is that he has no home, why it is that they're talking about him, about the South Side, or what do they call it? The Crown Point, right? Crown Point. While Crown Point, everything on that side has been washed away. And if I could say so myself, I don't know, Anthony, I don't know if you're watching or not, but that scene was phenomenally done, in my opinion, with them on the roof, thinking that fireworks are about to go off, then looking up and realize, oh no, it's not fireworks, it's terrorism. That's terrorism going off. And then was I the only one whose heart, like the way that they depicted that flood scene? And this is the version of New York where Marvel had Loki come down, and that Universal New York moment that was also in Luke Cage and Daredevil and Jessica Jones and the Avengers. This is the DC moment, the flood that was caused by the Riddler and the Batman. They are now building a world around this incident, which is smart. But to see it portrayed in the way that they portrayed it, I thought was very, very moving. What you think, Anthony?
I think everything about that scene was touching. I remember when the episode opened and we had that flashback with his mom and dad. You know what? I actually was like, oh, his mom and dad is alive. He's about to give them the money he got. I didn't realize I was watching a flashback at first. And then when I saw that moment play out, my heart just dropped. And it made me understand this character and the character development that was put into the writing. When we see him now, right? Like now he's got a huge stutter. Now he had that moment in the club where he had that PTSD attack. Everything about the way they're handling the moment with that happened with the Riddler is amazing to me. And I love that, like you said, they're building so many stories off of it like they did when Loki attacked in the Avengers. I know at first I was very, very like, I won't say pessimistic. I just didn't understand the need for the Penguin when they first announced it. But now that it's here, I'm like, yo, we need more shows about Gotham, right? I don't even need Batman to show up. Like, if he shows up and punches Batman in the face, I'm probably going to hate Batman a little bit. Like, yo, Oz is my guy right now. And everything he's doing with this character is just phenomenal. Like, Oz is the main character, but this is his story.
Right. Well, yeah. God damn it, Yazzie. I keep wanting to go to Yaz, and Yaz is just, I know. Well, she's in the chat, though. She's in the chat. And just to kind of to piggyback on what you were saying, Anthony, if I'm not mistaken, and Ty, you confirm this for me, something that I've been lobbying for years now, maybe finally coming to fruition, which is a Victor Freeze story, which I think is probably going to be more, I don't know, man. They've done such a good job with Penguin, but I just think the Victor Freeze story, him and his wife, and him trying to keep his wife alive, and him having to, him trying to like save her life and ultimately fucking up his own pH in the process. I love that shit. So maybe you'll be around for that. But right now, this Penguin shit is definitely giving. I'm wondering, in this show, we also saw his parents, like you said, and for a split second, Ty, I know you might have been thinking the same thing I was. I was like, is this still DC? Because that looks a lot like Miles Morales' family. If I didn't know any better, the family was like Afro-Latino father with the Latina mother. Only difference was that the pops wasn't talking like Fastos. You know what I'm saying? But when I was watching, I was like, okay, I see about swag, and I still hold what I said last week to the heart. But I saw what you were saying in that moment, because it was almost like DC was damn near trolling Marvel. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh, come on, that's Rio Morales." I was like, "That's Rio Morales," and that is Jefferson Davis. Like, what are they? Am I tripping, Ty?
Nah, absolutely not. I think I this is one of the reasons why I cape for this young man, but until I realized that he was Dominican, you know what I'm saying? But look, man, Victor's, the way they're setting Victor up, and the way that they are, again, you're seeing his trauma, you're seeing that he's always wanted to be more. He, even in that moment, he tells his dad, like, yo, Dad, why don't you ask your boss for more money? He's playing you. He's not. He's cheating you. And his dad says, and I quote, "When you know where we came from, we have more than enough." So his dad is the traditional, is a representation of the blue-blooded, hard-working immigrant that comes to America and just has a dream for a better life. Doesn't mean that I want millions and I want all these nice cars and nice houses. I just want a life where me and my family can be happy and not struggle. And that is enough. That was enough for his dad. Victor, however, has always had high aspirations. And this is why Victor couldn't make the correct decision, which would have been leave with the love of your life, start over, not be killing people and having to dispose of bodies, not having to, run people over with cars, not having to be involved in shootouts, not having to all of the things that your father would have been against. But then you have Oswald Cobblepot, who just tells you, look, man, you deserve to have everything.
Yeah.
Like, don't let nobody tell you should just settle. You deserve it, brother. You deserve it. Your father would be proud of you. And then you see that internal battle that Victor is having, where Victor is like, do I believe this guy who I know is a killer, who I know, but also who I know stands up for me at every opportunity that he gets, and now I don't have a father. Is this my new father figure? Is this the one that I should listen to because he has my best interest, because he sounds like he does? Man, Victor is playing a dangerous game with a sociopath and a psychopath, who at any moment can go from this to this, and I'm really interested to also see this origin story of Victor, because the version of Victor that we get in Gotham, if you guys were familiar with the Gotham series that used to come on, that
dude with the bald head,
absolutely, that version of Victor was actually people were scared of that version of Victor. That version of Victor like literally terrorized people just by showing up. Victor, as soon as Victor pulled up in the room, oh shit, Victor. Like, Victor ain't have to do nothing to you, but come in the room. It's Victor.
And he was like Omar from The Wire.
Yeah.
Oh shit, it's Omar.
It's Debo. Everybody put your chains up. Yeah. When he leaves, I'll be talking again. What I'm saying? Yeah. But that is what we're leading to watch this dude go from a humble young man to this villain, this killer, this scary individual is going to be very, very interesting. And look, man, I cannot get enough of this show. Like, this show, I'm telling you, is going to be nominated and win so many awards. If it hasn't, I think it's already started that process. I think they're already winning awards, and they just came out. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, if they continue this, Matt Reeves is the real person that should be applauded for DC, because he's the one who's keeping DC afloat and actually making DC relevant. If I'm being honest, it's all Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves. If you watch the Caped Crusader, which is the animated version of Batman that is on Prime TV, that shit is good. And that's a Matt Reeves animated series. If you think about the Penguin and what he's doing with the Penguin, this is great. And now it makes you look forward to other characters like a Clayface, like what's his name? Victor Freeze, like a Joker. Like, these characters have an opportunity to really, really be, you know what I'm saying?
That's what's up. Yeah, man. The comments is on fire. The comments is commenting right now.
Whoa. Oh, Blaze Honey Bun. Oh. What's going on right now?
What you ain't gonna do is give any breathing room to it. Oh man, it didn't happen.
Oh my gosh.
It didn't happen. We ain't gonna talk about it. We ain't gonna talk about it.
No.
Y'all already knew you, bro. I thought we knew you, bro.
No, I just want to give a thank you to Kayla's bestie for giving me that $5 Cash App. Thank you. I appreciate you for the $5. For those of you who don't know, Cash App, $ the movie blog. Thank you. I appreciate you.
And I want to put it on the screen so hard, but I ain't gonna do it. Oh man, I needed that. I think we should end with that, man. That's yo.
Oh, man.
We ain't talking about
YouTube. Follow the just want to talk about fruit.
We got spicy in the chat.
The comments is in fuego right now.
The chat just got spicy.
If you're watching on YouTube, you're in the right place. If you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, you're in the wrong place because YouTube is where it's the most lit, and that's where the comment section is on fire. I ain't even gonna tell you what they say. You got to go see for yourself. If you're listening on Spotify, Streamily, if you listen, then you need to go to.
I feel like now we're laughing and everyone doesn't know what we're laughing at.
Nobody knows.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, if you want to know, you want to be in the know, subscribe to our YouTube. All right, and check the comments out for this.
Oh man,
the one from 10-11, I believe it, 10-12.
Why are you pointing it out?
It was on Facebook.
You're like giving them a map. It was at 10:11 a.m.
All right. I ain't gonna. I'm gonna let that go. But yeah, there's wow, man. This definitely a classic, man.
Please,
honey quick, man.
Yes, Grace Honey Bun.
Wow.
Yo,
right. Hey, I like my honey buns. I like my honey buns glazed. I like my honey buns glazed.
Yo, one time the leg shaking.
Is that including tips or?
Oh my God, yo, bro! Is this the movie blog or the movie?
The OnlyFans,
the masseuse blog.
Not
yeah. Some of y'all probably like, what the fuck?
What's going on?
Yo, they are so confused.
Yeah, sorry, we just had an intern. You had to be there. I guess you had to be there. All right, I can't put him in. Come on, man. Let me. Nah, yeah, okay. Fine.
Yeah, look, man. Yeah, listen.
Right,
you want to know why we laughing and we having such a good time? You gotta tune in to the new Blurred Order, man.
Comments on the new Blurred Order. 10-12 is the day that you want to watch. For 1 second, okay. Well, Anthony's got fans, and one of his fans is giving us a all right, so 2 seconds. How many seconds would I have it up? Okay, my bad. It's so. Can I read it?
Oh my gosh, my Cash App is $ the movie blog. That's how you show support people.
Yeah.
Wigglesworth.
Oh man.
Oh,
hilarious.
Okay.
That's hilarious.
I feel like you're doing yourself an injustice because only $50 in this economy is if you got legs shaking,
right?
Glazed honey bun.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh
I
man.
need to raise the price.
Make sure y'all hit up Anthony for all your massage needs. Cocoa butter with the cherry almond scent is probably the best, man. You know what I'm saying? It's happy ending. Is that per minute?
Oh my God.
Yo, Anthony, how much you charge? Yo, what's going on, man? We need a group massage, Brad. I'm trying to get
the leg shaking. It's the leg shaking.
His name is Fredo Wigglesworth.
Oh man.
It's like who had the net in the kitchen to supply with the. All right. Well, look. Oh, I needed that, man. What a jam-packed day we had. Okay. All right. Well, I think we'll call it on that, y'all. Listen, there's a whole lot more to discuss, and so don't be a stranger. For those y'all who know who we are and been coming around, please keep coming around. All right. But listen, next week we do plan on delving a little bit more into From. All right, finally,
a lot more into From. A lot more, not a little, a lot.
We'll touch on the developments from Agatha at that point, and we'll even talk about Vox Machina, which if you haven't been watching, I highly recommend, especially for my anime fans. Even though it's not necessarily anime, this is a very, very well-written cartoon. I don't even want to say cartoon, animated series. I definitely think everybody would enjoy it. On behalf of myself adult. It is very adult. All right, like really adult. So this is not one to watch with the family. Yeah. On behalf of myself, Yaz's face, Ty, Nolly, Anthony and his magic fingers, even Megan for Anthony, even
Happy birthday, Lisa.
Happy birthday, Lisa Trzynski, and for everybody who pulled up on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, all of that good stuff. Thank you for those listening. Thank you as well. And do us a favor. I would throw at the time, but we really don't have that much time. Make sure you tell your friends to pull up too. Come to the show with a partner, man, so we can discuss it even afterwards. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like you got to come here with your car. Just send them the link and tell them, yo, pull up. We talk about this shit real quick. And as we always say, be your authentic self. Because if you ain't being yourself, you're being fake. And ain't no, oh man, I don't like that view. You being yourself and you're being fake. And it ain't no honor in that. And all things like we always say, go ahead and let that geek flag fly. Tell me,
I love
man.
the new blurred order. You should too.
Let me get all this 10P Wayne. All the niggas rapping about the same old thing. I've been coming through with the same old gang. Ain't shit changed except 9 got a name. Got it out the mud, but we got no stains. Cold ass lizard with a gold ass chain.